What if everything you've been taught about happiness is wrong? We spend our lives chasing it, thinking that once we achieve success, find the perfect relationship, or reach financial security, we will finally be happy. But how often does that fulfillment last? Why do so many people who seemingly have it all still feel empty inside? Happiness isn't something you find at the end of a long, exhausting journey. It isn't a prize waiting for those who struggle the most. And it certainly isn't hiding in material wealth or external achievements. The truth is, happiness is already within you. You just need to learn how to see it. Buddhism offers us a profound shift in perspective. Happiness is not about eliminating hardships, but about how we respond to them. True peace isn't found in avoiding life's storms. It's found in learning to stand strong amid the winds, to move with the currents instead of against them. When we stop resisting life and start embracing it as it is, we unlock a joy that no external circumstance can take away. In today's video, I will share 6 powerful Buddhist lessons that will help you cultivate happiness no matter what life throws your way. These teachings are not abstract theories. They are practical insights that have guided people to inner peace for thousands of years. And if you apply them, they have the power to transform your life too. So take a deep breath. Let go of distractions. Open your heart and your mind. Because what you're about to learn might just change the way you see happiness forever. Let's begin. 1. Happiness is not something you chase. It's something you cultivate. Imagine this. A man spends his whole life searching for a hidden treasure. He crosses mountains, sails across vast oceans, endures storms and hardships, only to realize in the end that the treasure was in his pocket all along. This is how we often chase happiness. We believe it lies in achievements, in relationships, in recognition. But no matter how much we accomplish, an emptiness lingers. Why? Because happiness is not a destination. It's a way of seeing. The Buddha taught that true joy comes not from what we gain, but from how we perceive what we already have. Think about it. Have you ever had a moment of pure joy from something simple? A warm cup of tea on a cold morning? A kind word from a friend? The sound of rain tapping against your window? These moments are always available to us. We just forget to notice them. There is an old Zen story about a fisherman who lived in a quiet village by the sea. Every morning, he would wake up early, row his small boat into the ocean, and spend hours fishing. He caught just enough to feed his family and sell a few at the market. In the afternoons, he napped under the shade of a tree, played with his children, and spent evenings laughing with his friends. One day, a businessman visiting the village saw the fisherman and said, "You're wasting your potential. If you work harder, catch more fish, and sell them, you could buy a bigger boat." The fisherman asked, "And then what?" "Well, then you could expand, hire others, and build a fleet." "And then what?" the fisherman asked again. "Then you could start a seafood company, make millions, and eventually retire with enough money to relax and enjoy life." The fisherman chuckled and said, "But I'm already enjoying life." This is the paradox of happiness. We chase after success, wealth, and status, believing they will bring us peace, only to find that true contentment was available all along, in the simplest things. The fisherman had already found his treasure, while the businessman was still searching. Instead of asking, "What more do I need to be happy?" ask yourself, "What am I taking for granted that already brings me joy?" Shift your focus. You don't need to wait for a perfect life to feel at peace. You can choose to be happy right here, right now. Yet, choosing happiness doesn't mean ignoring hardships. Life will always bring challenges, loss, and uncertainty. But what if instead of seeing these as obstacles, we saw them as teachers? The Buddha once said, "The mind is everything." What you think, you become. If we believe happiness is only possible under perfect conditions, we will never find it. But if we train ourselves to see beauty in what is already here, in the imperfect, in the fleeting, then happiness becomes something we create, not something we chase. Look around you right now. What is one small thing you can appreciate in this moment? The gentle rise and fall of your breath, the quiet presence of someone you love, the simple comfort of being alive. Happiness isn't something we need to reach for. It's something we need to wake up to. 2. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises not from pain itself, but from our resistance to it. Imagine holding a rope tightly, so tightly that it burns your hands. The harder you cling, the more it hurts. But if you let go, the pain begins to fade. Life's hardships are like this rope. We often grip tightly to our expectations, to what we believe should have happened, or to the past we wish we could change, and in doing so, we unknowingly deepen our suffering. But what if we stopped fighting reality, and instead embraced it with an open heart? The Buddha compared suffering to being struck by 2 arrows. The first arrow is the pain itself, a loss, a disappointment, an illness. The second arrow is our reaction, our anger, our fear, our resentment. The first arrow is unavoidable, but the second, that's a choice. There is a story in Buddhist tradition about a young monk named Tenzin who came to his teacher full of despair. His heart was heavy with grief. After losing his father, he felt trapped in sorrow, unable to move forward. His teacher handed him a cup and poured in hot tea until it overflowed onto Tenzin's hands. He yelped in pain, quickly pulling his hand away. "Why did you pull away?" the teacher asked calmly. "Because it was burning me," Tenzin exclaimed. The teacher nodded. "That is pain. It happens. But if you had clung to the cup, refusing to let go, would the pain have continued?" Tenzin realized in that moment, the pain of losing his father was real, but his suffering came from his refusal to release the grief. He had been holding on to his sorrow as if clinging to a burning cup, letting it scorch him again and again. This is what we all do. We experience pain, but instead of acknowledging it and letting it pass, we replay the hurt, relive the sadness, and cling to resentment. We grip the burning cup, thinking if we hold it long enough, we can change what has already happened. But the reality is, we only burn ourselves further. The next time you find yourself struggling, ask, "Am I making this harder than it needs to be?" What would happen if you softened into the experience instead of tensing up against it? Could you let go of the second arrow, the self-inflicted suffering, and allow yourself to heal? Pain will visit all of us. That is the nature of life. But suffering, that is something we can choose to put down, just like Tenzin's burning cup. 3. You can't control everything, but you can control your mind. Picture this. You're standing on the shore, watching the ocean. The waves rise and fall, sometimes gently, sometimes violently. You cannot stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. Life is the same way. You cannot control everything that happens. You cannot stop disappointments, aging, or loss, but you can control your response, and that changes everything. The Buddha taught that our thoughts shape our reality. If you wake up and tell yourself, "This is going to be a terrible day," your mind will find reasons to prove you right. But if you wake up and say, "Today, I will find joy in the small things," suddenly, life feels different. There is an old story about a king who sought peace of mind. Despite his wealth and power, he was tormented by worries, fear of losing his kingdom, anxiety over what people thought of him. frustration when things didn't go as planned. One day he summoned the wisest monk in the land and demanded, "Tell me the secret to controlling the world around me so that I may finally have peace." The monk smiled gently and led the king to a river. He picked up a handful of sand and squeezed it tightly in his fist. "Look, Your Majesty, the harder I grip, the more sand slips through my fingers." Then he relaxed his hand, letting the sand rest lightly on his palm. "When I hold it gently, it stays." The king frowned, impatient. "But what does this have to do with my kingdom?" The monk met his gaze and said, "Your worries are like this sand. The tighter you try to control everything, the more it slips away. But when you let go and trust the flow of life, peace remains." This is the great paradox of control. The more we try to grasp it, the less we truly have. Life will always be unpredictable. Plans will fall apart. People will disappoint us. Unexpected hardships will arise. But none of these things have the power to dictate our happiness unless we let them. Take, for instance, two people stuck in the same traffic jam. One is gripping the wheel, honking angrily, cursing the delay. The other sits quietly, using the time to breathe deeply, listen to a favorite song, or simply observe the world outside the window. The traffic is the same. The circumstances are identical. But one suffers, and the other remains at peace. The difference, their mindset. The Buddha compared the mind to a wild elephant. If left untamed, it will rampage, creating chaos and destruction. But if trained, it becomes a powerful force, capable of great strength and wisdom. The question is, who is in control, you or your thoughts? So how do we train the mind? One of the simplest yet most profound Buddhist practices is mindfulness. Instead of reacting impulsively, pause. Observe your thoughts like clouds drifting across the sky. Notice when frustration arises, but don't cling to it. Acknowledge fear, but don't let it dictate your actions. Let each thought pass, like waves retreating from the shore. Another practice is gratitude. What we focus on expands. If we dwell on problems, they multiply. But if we look for moments of beauty, however small, they grow. A smile from a stranger, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the steady rhythm of your breath, reminding you that you are alive. This doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending life is always easy, but it does mean recognizing that suffering is not caused by external events. It is caused by the way we think about them. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, am I gripping the sand too tightly? Am I fighting the waves instead of learning to ride them? Because the truth is, peace is not found in controlling everything around us. It is found in mastering the mind within. 4. Let go of expectations. Embrace what is. Expectations are like a tightrope we walk on, always trying to balance, always fearing the fall. When reality doesn't match what we imagined, we suffer. Buddhist wisdom teaches us to loosen our grip on expectations, to flow with life instead of resisting it. Imagine a river. It doesn't complain when it meets a rock in its path. It simply moves around it, continuing on its way, but letting go of expectations is easier said than done. We are conditioned to believe that life must unfold in a certain way for us to be happy. We expect people to treat us kindly, jobs to be stable, relationships to be fulfilling. And when life doesn't meet those expectations, we feel wronged, as if the universe has betrayed us. There is a Zen story about a farmer whose horse ran away. His neighbors sympathized, saying, "What terrible luck." The farmer simply replied, "Maybe." A few days later, the horse returned, bringing with it a group of wild horses. The neighbors exclaimed, "What wonderful luck." Again the farmer said, "Maybe." Soon after, his son tried to tame one of the wild horses, fell, and broke his leg. The neighbors sighed, "What bad luck. The farmer, as always, said, maybe. Not long after, the army came to the village, recruiting all young men for war. The farmer's son was spared because of his broken leg. His neighbors congratulated him. What great luck! The farmer smiled gently and said, maybe. This story teaches us that life is never just good or bad. It is simply unfolding, moment by moment. When we let go of rigid expectations, we create space for life to surprise us in ways we never imagined. Think about a time when something didn't go as planned. Maybe you lost a job, only to find a better opportunity later. Maybe a relationship ended, making room for someone who truly valued you. Sometimes what feels like a setback is actually a redirection toward something greater. But when we cling to expectations, we fail to see the possibilities that arise from change. Instead of thinking, life should be this way, try asking, how can I work with what life is giving me? What if, instead of resisting, you surrendered to the flow? Imagine standing in the rain, holding an umbrella that is full of holes. You keep shifting it, angling it, trying desperately to stay dry, but no matter what you do, the water seeps through. Frustrated, you curse the rain, wishing it would stop. But what if, instead of struggling, you simply put the umbrella down and let yourself feel the raindrops on your skin? The rain doesn't stop, but your suffering does. This is the essence of Buddhist wisdom. Life will always bring unexpected storms. You can fight them, resist them, and exhaust yourself in the process. Or you can let go and embrace what is. Happiness is not found in controlling life. It's found in accepting it. And when you do, you will realize that peace has been within you all along, waiting for you to let go. 5. Live in the present, not in the past or future. If you had a glass of the finest wine in front of you, would you savor each sip or spend the whole time worrying if the next glass would be as good? We do this with life all the time. We replay the past. We fear the future. And in doing so, we miss what is right in front of us. The Buddha taught, do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. But being present isn't always easy. Our minds are like restless monkeys, jumping from one thought to another. We relive old regrets, replaying conversations we wish had gone differently, or we leap ahead, worrying about things that haven't even happened yet. And in that constant back and forth, we forget to simply be. There's a story about a disciple who asked his master, how can I find peace? The master handed him a cup of tea and said, drink your tea. Confused, the disciple asked again, but what must I do to find peace? The master smiled, just drink your tea. The disciple took a sip, and in that moment he understood. Peace isn't found in overthinking. It's found in fully immersing yourself in the present moment. Yet we live in a world that constantly pulls us away from the present. We check our phones while eating, our minds half listening to conversations. We rush through daily tasks, always thinking about the next thing on our to-do list. But what if we slowed down? What if, instead of doing more, we noticed more? Try this. When you eat, just eat. Feel the texture of the food, the flavors dancing on your tongue. When you walk, just walk. Notice the sensation of your feet touching the ground, the rhythm of your breath. When you talk to a loved one, truly listen. Hear not just their words, but the emotions behind them. There's a Japanese concept called ichigo ichi, which means one time, one meeting. It reminds us that this moment, this conversation, this sunrise, this laugh, will never happen exactly the same way again. When we embrace this truth, life becomes richer, fuller. We stop waiting for happiness, and realize that it's already here. Imagine you're watching a sunset. You wouldn't check your watch and wonder how long it will last. You wouldn't compare it to yesterday's sunset or worry about tomorrow's sky. You would simply sit, breathe, and witness the beauty before you. Life is the same way. If we keep chasing the past or the future, we'll miss the sunset happening right in front of us. So, pause, breathe, and ask yourself, what is happening right now that I can appreciate? Maybe it's the warmth of the sun on your skin. Maybe it's the laughter of someone you love. Maybe it's just the quiet presence of being alive. Because life isn't something that happens later. It's happening now. Don't miss it. 6. Gratitude turns everything into enough. The happiest people are not those who have the most, but those who appreciate what they already have. If you want to shift your mindset, start a gratitude practice. Each morning, write down 3 things you are grateful for. Not grand things, simple ones. The warmth of your bed, the laughter of a child, the kindness of a stranger. But gratitude is not just about making lists. It's a way of seeing the world, a lens through which life becomes richer and more meaningful. Too often we focus on what's missing, the opportunities we didn't get, the things that didn't go our way, the possessions we don't own. And in doing so, we forget the abundance that already surrounds us. There is a Buddhist story about a traveler who was caught in a storm. He took shelter under a large tree and cursed his bad luck. "Why must I suffer in this cold rain?" he grumbled. Then he noticed an old monk walking by, drenched yet smiling. The traveler, perplexed, asked, "Why are you smiling in such miserable weather?" The monk replied, "Because I am grateful for the tree that gives me even a little shelter. I am grateful for the rain that nourishes the earth. I am grateful for the cold that reminds me to appreciate warmth." The traveler stared, realizing that while he had been complaining about the storm, the monk had been seeing its blessings. The situation was the same, but the experience entirely different. This is the power of gratitude. It transforms how we experience life. Many people believe that gratitude means ignoring problems, pretending everything is fine when it's not. But gratitude is not denial. It doesn't mean we don't acknowledge challenges. It means we don't let those challenges consume our perspective. Think about it. When you wake up in the morning, do you immediately think of what's wrong, or do you notice what's right? The comfort of your bed, the fresh air outside, the simple fact that you are alive for another day. A man once asked the Buddha, "How can I find happiness?" The Buddha handed him a small bowl and told him to fill it with water from a nearby river. As the man walked back, he stumbled and some of the water spilled out. He panicked, focusing on what was lost. But when he reached the Buddha, the teacher smiled and said, "You still have water in your bowl. Why grieve for the drops that are gone when you still hold so much?" Gratitude is like that. We can focus on what we've lost, or we can cherish what remains. Try this before you go to sleep. Reflect on 3 moments in your day that brought you joy. Maybe it was a heartfelt conversation, a beautiful sunset, the way your pet curled up next to you. The more you train your mind to notice these things, the more you realize how much goodness already exists in your life. Gratitude doesn't change the external world, it changes how you experience it. And that in itself is enough to turn even the simplest moments into sources of profound happiness. Conclusion. The key to lasting happiness. Happiness is not some distant destination, waiting at the end of an endless pursuit. It is not found in wealth, achievements, or the approval of others. It is not something outside of you at all. The truth is, Happiness has been within you all along, patiently waiting for you to notice it. Life will always present challenges. There will be losses, disappointments, and moments of uncertainty. But within every difficulty lies a choice to resist and suffer, or to accept and grow. The Buddha taught that true peace comes not from avoiding life's storms, but from learning to stand in the rain without fear, to breathe deeply, to embrace what is, and to find beauty in the imperfection of every moment. So take a breath. Let go of what you cannot control. Appreciate what is already here. Shift your focus from what's missing to what's present, because happiness is not a prize to be won. It is a state of mind, cultivated through awareness, gratitude, and presence. And remember, your journey to happiness does not require grand steps. It begins with something simple: a single conscious breath, a quiet moment of appreciation, a gentle act of kindness. If this message resonated with you, share it with someone who might need it. And if you want to continue exploring wisdom that brings peace and clarity, consider subscribing to this channel. Together we can walk this path with mindfulness, compassion, and a heart open to life's simple joys. Thank you for watching, and may you carry this peace with you into every moment that follows.